like yesterday and we were celebrating the new year.
Yep, time sure flies when you're having fun.
It does. And we were having fun playing so many different games, weren't we?
Yes, we sure were. But right now, let's roll into some of our favorite games that we played in January on this Board Games and Coffee.
Welcome to WiscoDice. Hey yo folks, I am your host, the Conesy with the Most, and I am joined today by...
Hey, I'm Suzanne.
And today on Board Games and Coffee, we're going to be drinking some amazing coffee. We're going to be talking about amazing board games, and most importantly, we're going to find out what some of our favorite new to us games were in 2025 so far. Because we're just going to talk about what we played in January.
Yes, pretty much. So, Conesy, what are you drinking today?
I have a Reba from Just Coffee Co-op. Look at me, I got the name right.
You did. I was wondering if you would.
Reba. So it's just...
I'm drinking the same today.
Yeah, we're both, So just their standard, it's a standard medium roast. Absolutely delicious. By the way, if you'd like to be like some of these folks that are being featured on screen right as we've been talking about this, make sure you leave a comment below. Let us know what you're drinking, as well as what your favorite games were that you played in January 2025.
Yes, and now, before we get into this list of games you're waiting for, we should definitely have them
Smash
that like button. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you've not already.
Yeah, and as we said, comments. Do it now.
We love interacting with you and hearing what you've been playing and what you've been drinking.
All right, let's go ahead and roll into it. So these are games that we played that were new to us.
Yep, new to us.
Not necessarily both of us played, by the way. One of us has definitely played a couple more of these than the other. But we are looking very forward to hopefully being able to get the other one to get a chance to play some of these that
it's okay.
Basically, some of these, I mean, just one. I think there's just one on the list that I didn't play. Or that you didn't play.
Yeah, there's one I didn't play, but that's okay.
Anyways, we're going to go ahead and kick it off with the first game. Again, no specific order here, just new to us games. We've played them at least once, so this is more first impressions kind of thoughts. Cthulhu Death May Die, Fear of the Unknown from Simon showed up. We were Kickstarter backers, so it showed up recently, right before actually the new year, I think. And we got it to the table in January right away. I've actually played this one, I don't know, probably 4, 5, 6 times. I've played it. You've played it 2 or 3.
3 times, actually.
Yeah, so it says something for the game. We've played it that many times. I mean, I feel like I've played it enough I could review it. I played it at a bunch of different player counts. I've played it against both of the great old ones. I've done chapters 1 and 2 in it. I haven't done all the chapters yet, but it seems to keep coming back to the table and getting played, and people seem to really be enjoying it. So
it's a fun cooperative game where you really get to decide what your character does, and you can build up your character, and there's things that are not going to come up in every game, even if you're playing the same old one, same characters, and there's lots of replayability and variability that is built into this game. And I don't think anytime we played it that there was anyone that was quarterbacking the game. Like, some people have a tendency to, but it was pretty much negated with how this game works. So if you don't mind the Cthulhu mythos and enjoy it like we do, this is a fun game to check out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say, I've stopped supporting or backing SEMA, not because they don't make good games, because they absolutely do, but they're definitely one of those publishers that does the FOMO, fear of missing out kind of thing, with stretch goals constantly and extra add-ons, and then you get a ton of really cool miniatures with the game. So great value, I think, when you get the Kickstarters and you back them, because you get so much extra stuff. But I will tell you that I have so much extra Simon stuff from things like Zombicide and Masters of the Universe and other games that I've backed of theirs, just sitting on the shelf, taking up space, that I may never get to playing. I've kind of held off on backing Simon games, but I heard the Cthulhu Death May Die system was really good, this was the latest iteration, so I finally said, sure, I'm just going to take the plunge. We're going to get this game. I love Mythos games. I love Cthulhu games. I love this great old one. I love Lovecraftian kind of storytelling. I love the fact that it's a co-op. So it plays well at 2 players. It plays well. I'm going to imagine it plays well solo. It plays well with multiple players and a full player count. I've lost it more times than I've won it. And I still keep wanting to play it.
It doesn't feel too bad when you lose. Like a lot of Cthulhu Mythos games, it doesn't feel horrible when you lose.
Well,
okay, so
depends.
It doesn't.
Like,
but
yeah, no, it doesn't feel horrible. I would say like our experience with Arkham Horror, the card game, like we really love that game. But after about scenario 3 or 4 or 5 in the campaign, it starts to become a painful grind as we just see our characters just going downhill in a hurry.
Well, there's that. But let's move on to a whole different theme.
Different theme? What are we talking about now?
Well, now we're going to talk about Charcuterie, the board game.
Charcuterie, I like charcuterie.
I know. I
like eating charcuterie, but they put it in a board game? Do we get to eat it?
Please do not eat
I
this
play
board
this
game.
I know. But you could. You can't quite play this game with the real thing, though.
You could have a charcuterie board out while you were playing it.
That would be a cool upgrade.
So this is a game that was in the Play to Win section at Midwinter Gaming Convention, and I've been curious about it because, I don't know,
It's charcuterie.
Charcuterie. It seemed kind of fun, and it's published by 3WS Games. You're drafting elements for your charcuterie board.
Yeah.
And then you have goal cards that are unique to you, and I think some common goal cards. Mm-hmm. And you're placing them on the board, and you have lots of time to rearrange them. I'm glad I got to play it. Probably not one I'm going to go and purchase for myself. I have other games that do some of this drafting mechanic better. It seemed a little, unless we completely understood the simple rules wrong. It seemed a little too simple.
I don't know. I didn't mind the fact that I got into the game. I was enjoying the gameplay.
You did.
I think you maybe didn't enjoy it as much. I did have one really significant concern about it, and I think this is my same concern. Like if I'm playing Draftosaurus, the big difference is in like a game like Draftosaurus, it plays super fast, and you're done in like 5 or 10 minutes. So if somebody is purposely like feeling around in the draw bag to get certain shapes and ensure that certain shapes are out on the board for drafting, then this game goes sideways in a hurry. So I think if I were to buy this game, one of the first things I would be doing is the various charcuterie pieces can be fairly big, but I'd find some kind of plastic
you need them to not be able to stack on the board though.
But you could do that with like a plastic thing.
It better not be slippery. And
you would not want it to be slippery, but something like a large version of a coin holder or something like that wouldn't be too bad. So that when somebody reached in the bag, they couldn't feel, ooh, this is a triangle, this is a square. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to draft a cracker or they're going to draft a meat or a cheese, but at least like if they're looking for certain shapes because that might be tied to a goal or something like that, that definitely could swing it if somebody wanted to play a game. We didn't. I enjoyed it. You enjoyed it a little less. We both agreed it wasn't something we were going to go out and buy, but it definitely, if you're into charcuterie, you want a lighter game, you can play with a family, we would recommend this one as something you might want to check out. Just be aware that the shapes of the pieces can be easily felt out in the draw bag as you're refilling the board.
Yeah, and I will add that I think this game would be a great one if you're going to gift it to someone who is a non-gamer, that you want to gift them a game.
Yes.
This is an accessible game.
Yes.
And it's got a fun theme, and it's not, so I think this would be like a great hostess gift or a gift for a non-gamer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the next game is a game that we've actually played the base game before, and we'll talk about our thoughts a little bit about the base game while we talk about this, but we're actually talking about what was new to us was the expansion for this game, and that is Origins First Builders from Board and Dice, and specifically the Ancient Wonders expansion for it. I'm going to say that when we played Origins First Builders, we're huge fans of Board and Dice, and when we played it the first time, we didn't care for it.
I
think we liked it, but it was
more than you did.
Yeah, this is one where you.
I definitely liked it more and wanted to play it again.
It felt oversimplistic, and it didn't feel like playing it as a 2-player. It felt like it overstayed its welcome. It went too long, and it didn't feel like it had a good closure mechanism necessarily. Well, I'm happy to say that when we put Ancient Wonders into the mix and played it with that. Boy, did that fix all of my concerns with this game. I feel like this expansion is needed with the base game, so if you're buying this game, just buy the expansion and throw it right in your first play. It really doesn't add anything mechanically. It just addresses some of the end game. It adds rounds to the game, which is really helpful. It adds
the end game trigger comes up a lot quicker too.
Yes, I like that a lot.
Otherwise, you have to be doing certain things to advance the game, and especially your first playthrough, if you're not quite sure how those are going to work and fit into your strategy. That game. I think that was the downside on our first game. Is it dragged on?
Well, the kicker is there's only 4 actions. Where there are only 4 action spots. I mean, I guess there's more than each action spot has a couple of different things you can do at it. But there's only 4 action spots. And so you're placing dice, and when you place a dice, it has to be equal to or greater than whatever the value is on this gear at the action spot. Otherwise, you're kind of out of luck as far as what you can do for action. So you can get into a position where the gears are all really high and your dice are all really low pip values.
And you're just doing
that
turns,
you can be really frustrated.
Just trying to slowly creep your dice.
So by having the game last a certain amount of rounds, it didn't overstay its welcome. I felt like I got a full gameplay experience out of it. I feel like I got a full game, and I didn't start getting bored about halfway through it with, okay, I'm just doing the same repetitive stuff, or oh hey, this round is just going to be a rebuild round, so I can get my dice pipped up, so I can do the things I want to do next round.
Well, it kind of suffers from the same thing that several people we've talked to that do not care for terraforming Mars, where they feel like that just takes so long, because if you are not intentionally moving everything towards the end point of the game, if that's not a focus, both of the games will just keep dragging on. This expansion puts that timer in place.
Putting 5 rounds is a perfect amount of time to play this game. It really is. They did a great job with the expansion. This puts this game back on the shelf for a game that I'd like to get to a game night. It also puts it in a nice, I can guarantee that in a game night it will get played and people can finish the game. It's easy. It's an easier to learn big Euro board game because it doesn't have as many. It only has the 4 action spots or the 5 action spots. Maybe there's 5 wheels, I think, at the top. Now that I think about it, either way, you'll see it in the picture that's on the screen. Anyways, great game. Now,
we only played it twice.
Expansion, but I want to play it now again.
No. I mean, so remembering 4 versus 5 is not.
Yeah, I just I didn't want to play it again because I disliked it so much the first playthrough.
I also feel better about teaching the game, and if someone asks for strategy, what do we need to do to advance the game? All right, here are different things that you might need to do.
Have the most points by the time you're done with 5 rounds. Done. That's okay. There you go. Now let's go and explain how you do all the things. Go play the game. It's such a better teach.
Yes,
it
definitely is. All right, so that was Origins First Builders Ancient Wonders expansion from Board and Dice. So what do we have on our 4th one?
Trajan from our favorite one of our favorite designers, Stefan Feld. Trajan is a classic old school Euro game that I have played before, but you had not, which is why it's on this list. I
had not, and our copy had never been played, so it was on our looking for players table for a while.
Now this is a game that we picked up used from Noble Knight Games, so some of these older classic games like that, if they're still in print, or this is one of the older printings of it. So there's a couple of things that maybe are a little less clear in the rule book that I ended up looking up on the online PDF or online FAQs, but we got to the table and I taught you how to play it, and this is why I love playing this game. And then we got it out to a game night recently, and everybody had a great time playing it. In fact, there were so many people that were like, ooh, Trajan, we want to play that You wanted to play it in a larger player count. You actually got kicked out of the table.
But I got to teach it, and find out where some of the person who taught it to me had a couple differences between the rule book and stuff. But that's okay. That's what happens, right? Yeah, they had a great time playing it. I had a great time teaching it too.
Sure.
And going through it. And the design on the board is great. It adds to the enjoyment of the game, but without being overpowering.
Sure.
The colors are vivid enough that you can distinguish them without being in your face. Like, it's just this magnificently designed game for mechanics and, just the visual aspect of it.
Yeah, it's got, it leverages or takes advantage of, the classic kind of Mancala, Rondel, pick up your pieces and then leave one piece behind at these different colored pillars. And then based on where your piece lands, that's the action you get to do on the board. And there's a bunch of different actions you can do on the board. You can go explore with your armies. You can go build. You can go ship things. You can do all sorts of things.
Benefit from wherever you land. Yep. It's just, are you maximizing your action efficiency and your turn efficiency?
Yes.
With with choices that you make, but you can always do something, and it's always beneficial to you.
It does suffer maybe a touch, as I recall, from when I played it years ago, a little bit from the what happened in a lot of the older Euros is if you don't want to do everything. If you do everything, you're going to fail.
That's true for a lot of
I think that's
games.
the case here with this game, but I need to get back to the table and play it again. It's been such a long time. I'm almost rediscovering the game with you because it's been so long since I played this classic.
Yeah.
But I remember how much I loved playing it the first time. So when we had the opportunity to pick it up,
you still have to. You don't want to do you can't do everything to the maximum amount in this game and win.
No.
You can't do everything a little bit and win, but you have to decide which areas and multiple areas you are going to focus on.
You also don't have to feed your family, which is a great thing. Unlike another classic Euro that we love is Agricola, where you're constantly feeding your family. You have to diversify and do everything in that game to do well, which is kind of neat, and different from this one.
All right. So last game is a game that I am super interested in, but I was not able to get a spot at the table for it. Mm-hmm. But Conesy did. So Conesy, what is this game?
Yeah, so this came out at our most recent Misty Mountain board game night, which happens on the last Friday every month. So if you're in the Madison area and you're looking to play board games like this one or any on this list, swing on out. We have plenty of space. 4 different games going at once.
Yeah,
this last Friday.
People there.
Yeah, it was great. So absolutely, we'd love to have you out. This game was SETI, The Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence from CGE. So in SETI, you are doing all sorts of stuff. But ultimately, I feel like the game had its roots in mechanics in another game that people really like, and that is Lost Ruins of Arnak. Now, the big difference is this is not a deck builder, but the card play is very similar. So the cards have multi-use capabilities, and you're just basically playing your hand of cards every round, right? So you end up with a different set of hand of rounds, and there's a little bit of card drafting so that you can kind of control, and you can acquire additional cards. But once you play a card, it's out of the game for the rest of the game.
Oh.
And so when you play a card, there are a couple of things that you can do with it. One, there's a certain action spots on the board that will let you tuck the card under your income, basically cards, so at the end of every round or the start of every round you get your new income. You get the income off those cards, which is you get your materials and things like that. You can use those cards to complete missions, which will potentially do things for in-game scoring for you, as well as give you extra perks or bonuses. During the gameplay, you can use those cards to take actions on the board, to go to different action spots. And there are different actions, like you can launch probes out into space. You can scan for radio signals from Earth. You can develop technologies that will help you make you become more action efficient at sending probes or landing things on planets or searching signals or whatever the case might be. And as you go, eventually you're going to unlock 1 or 2 of 5 potential extraterrestrial things, species. And then those become additional spots. Then it kind of becomes a little bit of a race before the end of the game to see how many of those spots on those boards you can get, because those usually come with more points and extra add-ons, and they have little alien card decks those alien card decks are slightly more powerful than anything that's in the base game, so you kind of want to get a couple of those cards so that you can have a couple of more powerful actions as well. So great game. I don't think I've done it enough justice to describe it, but we didn't quite finish our game, and we were playing with 4 players, so full player count, and after the teach, it took us about 3.5 hours to play through.
Yeah, you were playing for a while.
We didn't quite finish the 5th round. It does go over 5 rounds. I think if we were all to play it again, the same group of 4 players, it would play faster. So that's a plus. I think we could get it into a 3-hour game, but it does feel like with a 4-player game, it's going to be a bit of a longer game. But it was so worth it. I felt like every time I was doing something, I was doing something cool, and I couldn't wait for my turn to come back around.
I will say, like, this one looks so interesting when it's out. Like, when you see people playing it, you can't help but stop and go, what the heck are they doing? How are they knowing what to do? It's not like
it looks like chaos on the board,
yes,
right?
it does.
There's just stuff everywhere.
It does, but clearly they know exactly what they're doing. Whether or not you're into a space alien type theme, this is like, it's just an eye-catching game. And I talked with a couple at Midwinter who were in the middle of playing it one day, and they had gotten it once and played it, and heck, just basically can't stop playing it. And they played it 2 players and played it at 4 and said it's great. So we've only played it, had the one experience that Ben described, but feedback that we received is that it's really good at all player counts too. So
yeah, absolutely, it was great.
When it works out at some point, very possible we will be getting this game, because I love space themed
Oh yeah,
games
absolutely.
too.
This is definitely a one that we'll be adding to our collection hopefully very soon.
Yeah.
So that is our 5 games that we're going to cover today that were new to us. We played a lot of games. I mean,
we could sit
I
here for
played all
hours.
65 games in person last month. I went crazy with playing board games.
For this month, for new to us games, we just wanted to share with you kind of the top games that
the ones that we thought were the best of the new games.
The best, or the ones we've also heard the most buzz about, or people being curious about.
Let us know in the comments below what you enjoyed playing this month and what you're drinking. Don't forget, because you could be like some of those folks earlier in the video that got popped up on the screen because they left a comment on the last episode of Board Games and Coffee. Of course, if you're interested in picking up any of these games, we do recommend that you pick them up where?
At your friendly local game store, of course.
However, if you don't have a friendly local game store, or you'd like to support the show, we will have Amazon affiliate links for most of these games in the description, so just check it out while you're down there leaving a comment, and we appreciate it if you pick up any of these games via our links. All right, and until next time, thanks so much for watching. Peace out.
Thanks so much for watching.
And don't forget to smash that like button, and also subscribe to our channel.
By the way, here's some other videos that we've done that we think you might be interested in. Till next time, keep rolling those dice.